Like, for instance, my youngest daughter, wants to be an artist, and she's really good. So what I'm trying to do is not really instruct her on how to draw or paint or anything. I'm like, that's hers.
Yeah.
But I do just try to check in with her, like, hey, are you happy? Does this make you happy? Do you like when you're alone drawing? Are you okay with that?
Do you tell her that when she's older, she'll never truly be happy?
Exactly. You will never, ever, ever be satisfied.
Yeah.
But please continue drawing.
This is the Inkpulp podcast.
I regret this already. Welcome to the Inkpulp podcast with me and my dumb shark of a brother, Mattteo.
Hello.
We have some special guests here today. Well, one is here. One will hopefully show up soon, but it's the creative team.
He's so special, the other one, that is not even here.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. One's in a tent in the desert doing ayahuasca right
now. Well, that's where we should all be. And this would be a much more interesting show.
Yeah. The other one is pantless, feverishly masturbating while he's doing a podcast. And that's Mattteo.
Oh, we're used to that. That's nothing new. But yeah, we've got the creative team behind the image book Standstill here. Well, we've got Lee Loughridge here.
I love that you still call me Lee Loughridge. I mean, how long have I known you? 30
Loughridge.
There it is.
Loughridge.
Oh, is that Loughridge? I always call you Loughridge. But,
yeah, but
I never talk about you, so it never.
But the Italian thing lets you get away with it. Are you still telling people you're from Italy?
Yeah, no, of course. There's people that, well, now I think they're realizing now, but there was a time in which they thought I lived in the States.
Yeah, don't you live in Tenafly, New Jersey?
Yeah, of course, my favorite place. But there's people that were convinced that I lived there because for a while I was traveling a lot to the States. I was staying like 2 months at a time. So yeah, it was kind of like living there. Yeah, I now, with a kid and everything, I can.
I know.
This is a great show, Lee. We love watching you clean your screen.
Yeah, usually people love that.
I noticed I had a soft focus over myself unintentionally. I had the Barbara Walters Vaseline lens.
We know what was on that lens, Lee.
No. Come on, the phone screen's too small. How dare you?
So, Lee, if I say Loughridge, can I
say whatever. You can say whatever you want.
But that's my. You excused Mattteo because he's Italian, but I'm Jewish, so it's my Jewishness.
Yeah, but I told you I found out my dirty secret.
Yeah, you do.
It's Mattteo, Russian Jew.
Of course. Did you know this, Mattteo, about
what?
Lee? He's part Jewish. He found out.
Well, I mean, I have to say, look-wise,
he's seen the hammer on my nose.
I mean, I didn't want to be that guy, but how did you find out? Through 23andMe?
My son went on a deep dive during remember when fake COVID happened? The fake COVID? Where no one died. He went on a deep dive and then came in after a few days going over it with my aunt and calling everybody, and he goes, "Hey Dad, I think you might be a little more Jewish than you thought." And I go, how much more? He goes, "A lot."
and how did you feel after hearing that news, Lee?
I felt like
Did you go out and get a bagel?
I felt like an orphan that found his parents.
So let's do a test. Do you normally complain a lot?
I felt like Steve Martin in The Jerk. When he realized.
That's your next comic, Lee. You're gonna write that book. Instead of
Sorry,
The Jerk,
what were you saying, Mattteo? cut you off. It's too much laughter and joy.
No. I was testing your Jewiness, and so I was about to ask you, do you complain a lot during the day?
Yeah, well, let's lean into your racism. Do you eat capicola all day and catcall women?
Did you work for a certain period of time in the city of New York, like digging tunnels and stuff? Over the past few months.
I was one of the
Let me see your fingers. Let me see your fingers.
Sure, yeah. It's a little Jewish mole man, the mole man from Jerusalem.
Wait, I gotta back up. Being from Jersey, Lee, you said capicola.
Yeah, well, I'm not going to say gabagool. I'm not a goon.
Not a Guido.
Yeah. No, definitely the opposite of Guido. It's funny. No one even knows. Like, still 90% of people that say gabagool don't know that it's capicola.
Yeah, I know.
And
this
that's like it's a riot how that happened, right? You know, like gabagool. It's because gabagool because they're idiots. Yeah. They don't know how to speak.
Well, actually, like, okay, so the actual name in Italian is capicollo.
Yeah.
But which is a kind of prosciutto from the south.
Right.
Yeah.
I had some delicious stuff by you.
Yeah. And, but, if you're from Naples, the way they say it's gabagool. Therefore, a lot of people from that area came over to the States. So
it makes sense how it
became gabagool.
But here's the way that they say
it. But
this is the thing you're missing, and this is
here we go. Here we go.
No.
Racist alarm.
Jamie.
But it's not real racist against Italian. You can say whatever you want about Italian.
This is factist. Okay, I'm talking about your people.
Okay,
they think that's how, like they talk in Italy. They go mozzarella, gabagool. Like it's like this whole Goomba vernacular in New York City and Jersey, and it all came to the head when The Sopranos was out. Everybody was a mobster. Everyone still thinks they're a mobster in Jersey, and I'm like, dude, you're not a mobster. You work at Target. Like you load boxes. You're not in the. You're not
the very next day, Lee gets killed.
I was going to say Lee's been missing for 2 weeks.
This is the last time it was seen on the Inkpulp podcast.
Yeah, do me a favor.
Do me a favor.
Yeah, get me to the tunnel a little bit quicker. I guess Andrew's not coming. That's it.
Yeah, I don't. I have.
He might. Don't be that pessimistic.
He's in bed right now with like a 48-year-old runaway.
Jesus! Oh my God! Oh man, we're off to a good start today.
I wanted to ask him. I'm so sorry because I wanted to ask him so many questions. Like to be honest,
why would he get involved with a book with Lee, who's never written a book? Did you want to ask him that?
Who is the one that paid for that?
but yeah, because getting serious for a second, but yeah, the stuff like he did on this book here on Standstill is fucking amazing. And I remember I had the pleasure to see the pages way in advance, like you share them with me.
Like 2016?
Yeah. Back when I was a minor, I was still a minor, so you couldn't show me some specific pages because of my age. But yeah, it was like seeing those pages was a huge inspiration for me to do my book as well. Like some stuff, and I'm not able to do the stuff that he does, but some stuff that I do is inspired by the stuff that I've seen on those pages specifically. So it's the work. I mean, I know he's kind of known. I don't think I'm saying anything new. He's kind of known for being slower than the average, mentally, of course.
Right.
No, but in terms of how fast he delivers pages, but dude, like the stuff that he does, like I told it. I said it many times on the show as well. Like he's probably, I consider him to be one of the best ever,
Absolutely,
if not the best.
absolutely.
Agreed.
I agree 100%. And he's slower because of the amount of thought and effort he puts into his work. No, there's hardly anyone else doing that.
Yeah, it's a masterclass, and he'll admit it. You know, we've talked at length about like I'm wildly efficient. I mean, even making my breakfast is a lesson in efficiency because I have the same thing every day. So, I mean, I've talked to him like, hey, maybe you could try these things. This is what's worked for me in past 30 years. And I think his biggest hurdle is he's just a perfectionist. You know, I'll call for a shot and then he'll move it to worm's eye. And then he's got it, 3/4. And then he works on how he's going to have those characters situated. Then what's their expressions? You know, he likes to have full dialogue so he can get the mouths right, things like that. He's thinking about every fucking element and it shows. Like he's one of the best. And I think it's just really it's really painful for him to get through pages.
Speak of the devil.
Oh, nice. He's in.
Oh, there he is. What's up, man?
What's up, brother?
I was just talking about you.
Damn, Santa's getting snowblind.
Yeah, what's going on, Santa?
Mattteo, you know I love you, buddy, but my God, your original art sale on EssentialSequential.com has got us overworked here in the lab. Can't keep things straight.
I gotta apologize, Santa. That's definitely our fault.
Wait a second, guys. What's going on with the Essential Sequential website?
Oh, Mattteo, you don't know? Essential Sequential is having 20% off all original art at EssentialSequential.com. Enter code HOLIDAY20-2024 at checkout, and you'll get 20% off.
That's amazing.
Mattteo, you're a sweet Italian man. I love you, buddy. Shawn, you're nothing but a dirty You're not really part of this. But anyway, happy holidays, everybody, and treat yourself to some original art.
Cheers to that, Santa.
We were just singing your praises, Andrew.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I was saying to Lee, like, that I had the pleasure to see the pages, the standstill pages, way in advance, and I was like blown away. And it had inspired me a lot to do my book as well. I tried to do some of the stuff that I saw on your stuff. I tried to put it on my stuff. Of course, not reaching the same level of quality, but
no, not at all. But you
incredible.
Tried.
Yeah. I mean, it's the important thing is to try.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, yeah. You do what you can, Mattteo.
Now, one question.
Yeah.
Do I need to move my camera into vertical? Because I'm so used.
No. You're fine.
I'm so used to
you guys
horizontal.
are all vertical. Does that help? Does that make it better? I can't because my
No. The way you guys are seeing us is not how it is.
Oh, you're going to edit it in.
It's all vertical. No. It's recording everything
all
vertical.
Horizontal, yeah. No.
Yeah.
Horizontal,
all landscape. Everything is recorded in landscape.
This is just a screen view.
Yeah,
absolutely. So I was saying how much I love your stuff. I mean, you know it. I own like 3 or 4 of your stuff, and I'm still thinking about buying. Like right today, I was on the Essential Sequential website thinking about buying a couple of things still. So I've always been a huge fan. And I wanted to ask you something since I know that Lee told me you're very specific. You study a lot, the script before getting into the art. How hard was it for you to draw the scene? Because it comes with another question after. How hard was to draw the scene where the dog gets stabbed?
Oh, that's funny you bring that up. Go ahead, Andrew. Come on.
It starts with, is this necessary? I mean, my attitude was like, I don't know if there's coming back from this.
Yeah, because you can't redeem the main character after they kill a dog. They might kill like tens of thousands of people, but when they kill even a single dog, they're like doomed forever, right?
So that's
you might as well have killed a baby.
Yeah. No, it'd be less impactful to kill a baby. You know, you kill a dog, and we argued about that. He's like, I don't know, I just don't think I can draw the killing of the dog. I'm like, you fucking filleted 25 bikers in issue 1, but we're not going to kill this fucking dog. Like go ahead.
The dog's innocent.
The dog is
Just
innocent,
saying.
but I mean, here's my argument. My argument on all that was at that point in the story, most people love Riker. You're like, man, I kind of can get behind everything this guy's doing, but he kills the dog, and that's the first inclination. Like, this guy makes terrible fucking decisions as well. So, like, you love him, and then you go, like, there's a red flag. And, it was a black flag thing, too.
But, okay, so Andrew, following question, like, but to you, was it more like it would hurt the story, or it was hard for you to draw? Because that was gonna be my second question, because there's some artists, friends of mine, that have a really hard time drawing specific things, like the rape scenes and all this kind of stuff. But
that would have been easier than killing the dog, right, Mattteo? Like a good old
to me, whatever you ask me to do is just drawing, so I don't care. But I was surprised to discover a few years ago there's a lot of people that are not, they don't feel good about drawing certain things. So was it more of that, or you thought it was just earthing the story that was the thing that?
I feel like as long as it's necessary to the story, I don't really believe in gratuitous violence or sex or whatever. Mm-hmm. If it doesn't move the plot forward,
gotcha.
Or define somebody's character, and obviously, we're defining Riker's character or lack of character within this scene.
Gotcha.
Or maybe or obviously defining somebody's mental state.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he wanted to hurt that woman. He didn't want to kill her, but he wanted to hurt her. So, kill her dog. That's
gotcha.
The way I look at it. And it also makes people think twice about falling in love with Riker. But the thing he doesn't do, he doesn't use that ability to sexualize anything. That's not the play.
Yeah, I know. I remember there's a scene in the on the plane where he's kind of on the woman's side, on the flight assistant side.
Yeah, he's a good guy, and you'll learn as the story goes on. His
killing dogs aside, is a good guy.
Yeah, but it's funny you brought that up. Did we ever talk about that before this, Mattteo? Because
no. I was just rereading it today just to refresh my memory and see if some questions would come up. And I saw again the dog scene. I was like, I wonder if Andrew, because I discuss sometimes with an artist friend of mine, and it's sometimes I'm writing a little story for him, and at a certain point there's some kids that have to turn into either cookies or little animals, and then somebody's gotta eat them. And he was like, can we not do that? Because I have a son, and I'm like, and to me I was like who cares? This is just a story, like a fictional story, so it doesn't matter. But to some people it matters. So as soon as I saw the dog, I remember this discussion that I had with my friends. So I wanted to ask Andrew. That's it.
No.
Well, and obviously, if you're making a book, for children, then that's more of an issue. But I mean, I think this is for mature readers, right?
Yeah. It's like teen
I
plus.
think so. I have that impression.
Yeah.
It's a mild rated X, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But we definitely I definitely had to lobby for that. That was a big discussion. I mean, I think we over talked everything.
Wait, a big discussion between you two?
Yeah, about that scene. Yeah, Andrew was not with it. And I thought it was very important
Well, I mean, you have to ask why.
Yeah.
Why?
Why kill the dog?
Yeah.
You know.
Okay. I thought I had to ask why.
Did you guys come to an agreement on this, or did you just draw it just to keep Lee quiet?
And start hating silently
I was like, all right,
the rest
Lee,
of his life.
if you want the dog dead, the dog is dead.
Yeah, I think I sold him on it.
There you go.
Little stabby.
It's the same. It's the same reason he saves the little girl. You know, we had to give him. He has heart. He's doing what he's doing because he believes it's for good. You know, he's on a redemption tour, but he's also a good guy at the bottom of it. But he's also struggling with drugs, and if you had this ability, at some point your like morality goes out the window. And I believe in that scene, he wanted to, in my opinion, he wanted to hurt that woman, and because he had reasons to. He didn't want to sexualize her or physically hurt her. He wanted to, rob her and he takes all her fucking makeup off. He just really, it's a really torturous scene without any physicality. But killing her dog, and don't get me wrong, I think the line's funny too. You know, it's a good line.
But that little dog did go to heaven.
He did. He went to doggy heaven.
It's actually like a side story, like a spin-off.
It's funny
After
you say that.
the series ends,
Yes.
there's a scene with the dog in heaven.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the dog shows up in the epilogue. The dog comes crawling out of the ground.
Well, he actually comes back as a dog angel, and he guides Riker.
Yeah, and the dog can stop time.
With a scar on his chest.
Yeah.
Yeah, the dog stops time and it just pisses on everything.
All right, so let me just give a little bit of history. So Andrew and Lee, you guys have known each other for a very long time. You went to art school together. That's correct, right?
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
And Lee, you've had a very lucrative and prolific career as a colorist, and this is your first time writing.
This book, when I started it, it was.
So what got you interested in looking at writing?
I think once the indie market kind of started taking off, like I never wanted to write superheroes. It doesn't interest me. This book, Shawn, you were there. You sparked it with me when we were talking about stopping time at the pool the one day. And then it turned into like a morality play. Well, like, what wouldn't you do though? Like, we know what you would do. Like, Andrew and I talked about it too. You don't need money. That's ridiculous. And then I remember, Shawn, you and I talking about all these things. And, first we went off the deep end with what we do. we started like stuff that would get you thrown in jail. And then it became morality plays. Like, even if as simple as like stealing like a Rolex from the jewelry store, well, that counter person is going to be responsible for that. So it's like all these repercussions that could potentially happen.
Right.
But that was definitely what sparked it.
Right. And I'll add this. After the dog scene, we're going to have Riker just give out jewelry to the homeless, like he's serving up hot soup,
Yeah.
And I was like, wait a minute, that's really not going to work. Like, it sounds wonderful, in like a Robin Hood kind of way. But I said, actually, what's really going to happen is that there's going to be people overdosing, people will be fighting, they're going to be killing each other over dollars and jewelry and stuff. And I was like, actually, this would be total chaos.
Yeah. And and then that was it. So that was like one of the million discussions. It's like, oh yeah, of course that's not going to work. You give these guys jewels and cash, and then the gangs hear about it, and then it's just a full on war.
But it leads to a geographical marker of where Riker probably is, so that Colin can see the news and be like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, he's trying to pin him down, but he also doesn't know who it is.
Yeah. Yeah, Colin's like, oh, right, he's helping Gavin Newsom with the homeless problem. So,
yeah, just give him a bunch of jewels and cash, and all better, brain fixed.
So Andrew, so Lee, we talked about you had the gestation, the idea. Andrew, how did you get involved in this?
I hung out with Lee one time, and he just handed me the script
at Comic-Con.
And I think what hooked me was the first scene. I love the biker bar scene, and plus, I read it blind. Like I didn't know the premise.
Okay,
so I thought it was really interesting to go in blind, and you're like, who the hell is this guy? I mean, it sounds like a joke, and this guy walks into a biker bar and,
Yeah.
Yeah, and the vernacular in that opening scene was a lot heavier initially, but the times they are a changing.
Yeah.
Terrible. And you guys, when you guys first started working on it, you were going to do it in a landscape format.
That was
strip, right?
The same question I wanted to ask.
And we did. We did do that.
How many? Sorry. So how many pages were done that way?
All of them.
Well, not all of them.
They still are. Yeah, no, all of them.
Yeah.
So we that was the plan. Landscape. I talked Stevenson into it. A lot of years went by. He found that the landscape books they put out didn't do well. The shops freaked out. Andrew and I agonized, like, we'll put thicker covers. We'll be able to make it stand up straight. And that's why Andrew designed that logo to work either way. So we were like, oh, it'll be fine. They'll be able to shelve it. Maybe they can bag and board the first issue to kind of hold it on. But all that's a lot of shit for the shop to deal with. So when we finally resolicited this, Rick Remender got it back on the schedule. He talked with Eric, and because Eric was like,
there it is.
Yeah, Eric was like, fuck you guys. I'm not ever putting this out. You're never going to finish. And he was like, yo, you cannot do it landscape. So I talked with Andrew, and we decided,
right,
to do it double page spreads.
Here's a warning. Here's a warning as an artist drawing horizontally, is that it sounds really cool, and it is cool. It looks cool, but when you get into drawing backgrounds are a lot easier if you're drawing a vertical panel.
Yeah.
And when you find you get that horizon line, and the further you take that horizon line, there's just so much more information you have to keep adding. And something to think about when you're thinking I'm going to do this book horizontally.
Right.
Yeah.
On top of the marketing and positioning and comic shops and everything else.
What I love about the horizontal is that it allows you to create a lot of foregrounds, a lot of different, layers. But on the other hand, I understand what you're saying, because all the exterior objects, you gotta, the size of the stuff that you're drawing in there, it's exponentially increases. So it's harder to handle. I understand what you're saying. To me, not being a huge background artist, I usually I suck. I got better over the past few years, but I suck. It helps me, the horizontal helps me a lot, because I can put big objects, up front, so I can kind of cheat, let's say so.
Yeah, of course. And you got to choose your battles. I mean, sometimes less is more, definitely. And I even look at some of the panels man, that was too much. I should have just let certain spaces just go to blank and let Lee just fill in with color.
Explain what I just said. I realize it's explain exactly the two type of artists. You're the real artist, and I'm just the guy who tries to cheat his way through the pages. But it's true. It's actually true. I believe what I say. I'm not
right.
Not kidding.
But there's the power of Suggestion. I think Bill Sienkiewicz is great at suggesting things, and you think you saw something, but really,
Yeah.
if you go back and study it, it wasn't there. He made you think that it was there.
I think Magnolia is
Actually
another
making you-
one, right? Do you agree?
And you're more a part as the reader. You actually become a part of the process of using your imagination as like that fourth wheel or fifth wheel into the process, and I feel like it's kind of better that way. I mean, telling everybody everything or overtelling, it's kind of it's not lazy. It's just not as creative or not as clever.
It works with certain things. Like I'm thinking about Jeff Darrow, who draws everything and is super incredibly scripted, but it works because he has a specific way of telling the story, and there's a specific goal. So, which is not like I don't reason that way, and I don't work that way. It's more like a French way of telling a story, probably. But and I totally understand. But I'm with you in this, in which I really prefer the other way of telling a story. You know, when you involve the reader into trying to read stuff, and
of course.
And when you can manage that, it's beautiful. Like let the reader see stuff even when it's not there. It's like the ultimate goal, I think, for an artist.
And it's as if sometimes when you don't put the background in, it's like when you're watching a film or TV show, and the camera has the close up of the character in focus and the background's out of focus. So you kind of get that feeling when there is nothing drawn behind them, but just the coloring. It's just a scene where the camera's focused on the character, the background's out of focus.
Yeah, it's all lens flare and just
rack focus. Yeah,
but I was wondering, going back to the landscape format, is that?
So I was making fun of Shawn. He goes, lack of focus. Yeah, love it. Yeah.
I said rack focus.
Sean's got a roast beef sandwich sitting on the table right now. He's waiting to eat that thing.
So going back to the landscape, the positive thing about it though is that you gain basically double the number of pages, because now they're bigger and they spread around in two pages, right? Am I right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the call. Like Rick was like, hey, maybe you guys could cut the panels up, and Lee, you can jigger them on the page, but then that would make some panels this big.
Yeah, I remember you were talking about that.
Yeah, then I
shit, look.
Oh shit. It happened again.
Did you see that? Did you see this? Go like this again.
There it is. Now we find out. Like it's a thing. Shit.
Oh yeah.
Because we were recording like a few weeks ago with Pernille Orum, an artist, and all of a sudden she did like this, and like balloons, like colored balloons, starting floating in the air around her.
Go like this, Lee. Go like this.
Try to do this. Yeah.
No.
Because she was talking about her second kid. She did this, and we found out the secret.
But wait, what are you? Are you on a mobile device?
Oh
right
shit!
You guys, you just ruined the rest of this podcast.
Now we have to find you.
This is the goal. This is the goal.
Yeah, but it doesn't work with me, for example.
I know, but that's what
No,
are you on a mobile
you have
device?
no happiness. You have no happiness in your life.
Yeah,
not like I do.
Lee, are you on a mobile device? I gotta know. That's why I think it's mobile devices, because I think Pernille was on a mobile device. That's fucking hilarious.
Okay.
Now we know.
Oh, shit.
Now that we've completely derailed the show, stop it now. Lee, just stop it now.
The show is over. Literally, now we gotta find out.
Now we're just a bunch of children making balloons.
Every time someone else talks, I'm just going to do that. All eyes on me.
So sorry, Lee. Now I completely forgot where we're talking about Rick Remender, right?
Yeah. Then we
Yeah.
talked about like cutting it up. Then talked with Andrew, and we were like, what do we do? Like, I thought like we were like Andrew was all for making it bigger. I mean, it was a very quick decision. Andrew was like, yeah, absolutely doubles. My issue was, well, some stuff might get lost in the gutter. So I kind of finessed the pages. So I had to reformat all the pages, finesse a couple panels so they wouldn't get lost. Because I was so panicked about issue 1, what was going to happen in that gutter. But the gutters are seamless in the book.
Yeah.
Like because, I'm thinking books where you'll lose, an 1/8 of an inch on each side.
Now, an ass comes up on these screen.
No.
No. What if I do this? Does it make a heart?
That's too.
Plus,
That's.
Boom. So
I was going to say, instinctively, I wasn't centering things in the widest panels. Like it's either pushed to the left or to the right. Just I mean, I feel like the composition to put things dead center is kind of lame anyway. So
it was pretty
actually,
easy.
hold on, Andrew. I want to ask you about that because I agree with you. But then I watch a Wes Anderson film and I'm blown away by the symmetry and the center compositions. Do you like how he composes shots in his movies?
I mean, it's interesting. It does get a little heavy-handed at times.
A little?
I mean, sometimes a lot.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. What was that one? Meteor?
Asteroid City?
Asteroid City. Yeah, that just got, to me, it was just really, really heavy-handed. Yeah, and I thought, is it just me? Like, am I like losing some like film taste? Like, I was like, I can't finish this film. I mean, it was all over the place, introducing too many characters. That CGI alien looked like something out of South Park. You know what I mean? I was like, did they do that on purpose? But I mean, I in certain films, it worked well, and I really appreciate it. I just thought in that one he kind of like overplayed his hand.
Got it.
And it's
also
like if you're into splatter, but like you just freaking go nuts with the splatter on everything, it's gonna be too much,
Mattteo, he's talking to you right now.
Yeah.
No, Mattteo use it with finesse. He finesses that splatter.
There you go. There's my boy.
Said my zombie.
But
call me later.
I'm keeping so splatters for you, only for you. But also in film, it's different because you see one image at a time.
Right.
In a comic book, it's a series of images. And you got to find a way to drive the eye through panels, and a symmetrical composition stops everything there. The best thing can happen can lead your eye down, but it doesn't allow you to move to make the reader's eye move. So that's different. So I understand why in movies you can find a way to make it work, but it could be really damaging on a comic book, unless it's a splash page. In that case, I can kind of think of a perfectly, symmetrical image. But other than that, or in a cover, but other than that, I completely agree with Andrew. Yeah.
Yeah, I think even that landscape composition too. Sometimes it can be tricky with telling the story, not confusing the reader at where to go. You know what I mean? You can have panels that are juxtaposed in a way where you're like, oh shit, do I go from here to here? Or do I go from here to here? Like, you know what I mean? Like it can be, because I noticed like when lettering stuff, I'm like, fuck, I don't even know where I'm supposed to go right now. Are
you doing the lettering, Lee?
No, Rob Tweedy does the lettering, but like, I do a lot of passes on it. And
Gotcha.
it's interesting, it can get, it can get confusing. You know, there's a lot going on that big page, but just to end that landscape conversation, we landed on the double page spreads. They worked great. It's way better, bigger. But we still we're doing a hardcover in landscape. We're doing the true landscape hardcover.
Okay, that's good.
So,
I mean, this all speaks to the direct market and how limiting it can be, and how you really do have to consider the market when you're making a book if you want to have the sales.
Yeah, but I look at it as a bonus, though. We just leaned into it because it's cool. We have a thicker book. There's more pages. The art's 15% bigger. And then if you get the hardcover, you get it in its original form, because there's several double page spreads that will be 22-inch spreads. In the regular books, it's just 2 page. Then you flip over and it's a continuation. So,
are you thinking about any artist edition as well, like the black and white with the studies and all the stuff?
That'll depend on sales.
Without
of the
your
hardcover.
ugly colors, Lee?
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. You know how that goes. If the hardcover sells well, they'll do it. If it, it's all sales related.
I promise you, just do it. There's a lot of artists that will love the artist edition. Everything I do, agree. There's a lot of people that ask for the artist edition. It will sell like crazy. We did it with Black Signs Ugly with issue number 1. And it's sold out immediately. There's still people that ask about it. You got to do it, man. Especially with Andrew's beautiful stuff.
I agree.
You got to
get those thumbnails out there. People need that.
Yeah. Even the thumbnails, everything you have, you can create a big book that works by itself. And it's gonna sell a lot. I promise you.
Yeah, for me, Andrew's thumbnails taught me how to do comics. I think having that out there would be a really good resource for a lot of artists.
Yeah, absolutely.
I remember we talked about that initially on this. I was like, Andrew, just give me thumbnails and then I'll do color.
I remember that was the original idea. I remember that.
It'll be interesting. And I was like, and just free form draw it. And let's not have any parameters in how we do it. And then he's like, I think that's kind of a cool idea. And then, he sends a couple panels and they're fully fucking perfect.
Well, style, the story, I think, should dictate style in a way. And so we weren't doing a superhero thing. And I felt like the style should be quasi-realistic to believe this totally incredible story, But I wanted to feel like this could be happening if you kind of make it real enough. Yeah. And so you can certainly draw yourself into a box doing that. I get it. It's a bit more work, obviously. But if we're in California, I want it to look like California. If we're over in New England, look like New England. If it's New York, look like New York. We have specific places, whether the Pentagon, George Washington Bridge, Caltech, and it should look like those places, hopefully getting the reader to believe in the story and believe in, this incredible invention. And hopefully as we go on, we kind of add maybe a little more texture to the invention itself by adding some more rules. And because I always find whether it's you watch a movie and it's magic or it's science or whatever it is, if the writers put in rules to the magic or to Scarlet Witch, her powers, the more they give you a few rules, then I'm like, oh, okay, this kind of makes sense, even though it doesn't make sense. But when you add rules to it, okay, there's parameters, there's boundaries.
It helps with the suspension of belief.
Yeah, and then Andrew came up with really late in the game, a real kryptonite for having this device. It's actual kryptonite. I mean, it's not kryptonite.
I actually came up with one more. Can I just say it?
Yeah, what is it?
If you're in the world and time has stopped, how do you get any oxygen?
Yeah. See those are the parameters. Then it was will everything be rigid? is grass, as like rigid as metal at that point. Like,
Yeah.
We had to like figure out like what's plausible and what'll hinder the story and what we can keep moving with it. But things, I feel like things are fairly rigid, when time stops.
Yeah, I think there's a point in which you can stop and rely on the suspension of disbelief, meaning that, it's, you got to trust the reader that they will follow you in the story. Otherwise it become too complicated, especially because it's not a specifically like scientific story. Right. It's more about the characters and the next, the fight that's gonna, happen between, that's preparing and that's boiling during the book until the two main characters, the bad guy, let's call him so, and the good guy will finally face each other, Yeah,
so I would think like gases don't stop, like it'd be cool in a film where time has stopped, everything's stopped, but like smoke still moves, fire still moves, there's certain like
some elements
that element, it definitely still moves, but I don't know, I mean, like Andrew's saying, like you have to have parameters and guidelines or else what the fuck, if everything just got frozen in time, then there's no story.
Well, especially if you have more than one person in time stoppage, maybe certain people can have advantages, disadvantages.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely one of those and we've talked about it ad nauseum where, what do we think? Like, again, the parameters make it a little more realistic and they just give you an easier space to exist in.
A more like say you throw a brick up like this high and then you stop time. Can I now climb up on that brick?
Right.
That's
because
floating
it's
in the
solid,
air.
because it's floating and in its state, it's completely okay.
And it would, yeah. And we were talking about that recently. Like, of course, it should be. But my big thing is we have a lot of car crashing things. And like, would you have the balls? Like, that's where my head explodes. Like, you guys have done VR, right? Virtual reality.
Never.
So like Rick has this virtual
arrive
reality.
in Italy in 20 years from now.
Yeah, it's perfect.
We don't have it in Italy
You're going to be better as a society. But Rick has this one where you walk out on a plank and then you have these handhelds. So you can step off it and then start flying. And you feel like you're flying. And the graphics, they're not great. But to step off that plank, not going to do it. I do it on my knees, and then I'll fly, and then I'll land on a building. I'll walk to the edge of the building. I know it's fake, but I will not jump off that building in VR. Right. So, like, would you have the balls to drive a car off the cliff, knowing you can stop time 8 inches before it hits the ground? Would you still have the balls? Like Spider-Man origin story, when he's on the edge of the building, he's like, I'm going to swing off of this building. Bullshit. Like, you're not doing that. Like, so I don't know. I'm sort of obsessed with that. Like, how long having this ability, for me, it's like, I'd want the reader to know, like, he's been at this a long time. He's been playing around with this a crazy amount of time, because it would take that long just to be able to have the guts to try those things and trust that this device is going to work every time. And he's also reckless, and he's kind of has a death wish in the same breath.
All right. Andrew, I want to ask you something. It's something that we were talking about before you came in, before we were recording, but you are someone who puts all of yourself into your comics, into your craft, and you give it, you think about everything and plan everything, and you do comics to the max, and that makes the process slower. How do you, like, you obviously will not sacrifice the quality of what you're doing to get it done faster. So how does that impact you in terms of like how you make a living, and how do you deal with that?
Most of the time I try not to think about that, which sounds illogical. It's like you have the best intentions and you're like, I'm going to be faster today. or I'm going to like take some shortcuts. I'm going to not draw that hand 5 million times. And then you just do it all over again. It's such an internal battle with like the different me's, you know?
Right, right.
There's like the part of you that's a dad. You're like, you need to finish up because you need to go spend time with your daughter and have money to do stuff with your daughter. And
Sure.
The other part of you that's like, oh man, we got more stuff to do. We got to stay on schedule. We got, you know, this to do. And then sadly it just comes down to it, and you get into that whatever place, and you're just like, I shouldn't grab that eraser. I should not grab that eraser and erase this. This drawing is good enough. But then finally you're just like, fuck it. The other person takes control, and you're like, fuck it, I'm just erasing that and drawing it again and like getting it to where you want it. And it's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous. I mean, it's at times doesn't make any sense. And I mean, when I tell other artists getting into the business, I said, look, you know, you got to decide what you want to do. You know, if you want to draw monthly books, you actually not just be able to draw one page in a day, you need to be able to do two.
Right.
Because if you can't do two and you get behind, you'll never ever catch up.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And you also have to, you know, it's like if you like really refined work with lots of details, you know, again, can you do that on a daily basis and meet deadlines? And
Right. Have you ever tried to develop a simpler style that would allow you to move faster?
yeah, of course. I mean, it's like, I think story dictates style. I mean, after this, I plan on doing stuff, you know, probably a lot cartoonier and simpler. And I think there's also something to be said for, you know, if you can plan it out better and you know that you're slow, it's like, why give yourself 8-panel, 9-panel pages?
Right.
You know what I mean? It's a battle. And if you're going to try to win, you're like, I'm slow. You're going to need pages that are like maybe 1 panel, 2 panels, just those pages where like, at least give yourself time to breathe and maybe catch up. But again, it takes more of a rational mind. You have to like actually plan this out and
right.
And
Mattteo,
give yourself.
Oh, go ahead, Andrew. Finish up.
No, give yourself a way to win.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
Mattteo, I want to ask you the same question because you've developed a way of working that's super fast, but that always seemed to be like what you were gunning for. Like you were training yourself to be expedient.
Yeah. I used to. Now I'm trying to take my time on stuff. And that's, especially with my book now, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm kind of, I think there's a part of my brain that now is like, what would Andrew do with this panel? Would he redo it or just let it go? I was like, no, it would redo it.
Right.
So sometimes I use some inner Andrew. And it paid off. Like sometimes I'm like, thank God I did it. So I got slower, definitely. But yeah, generally speaking, I have this internal clock that tells me you got to be able to finish this page by today. I try to let it go sometimes, but still, especially now, for example, I know that there's some work, a new gig waiting for me in January. So I set this goal to myself. I'm like, I'm on issue number 4 of my book, and it's 42 pages. And I want to, I'm on page 3 now, and I want to be able to finish it by the end of the year. So I'm back to that internal clock of I gotta finish this page by that
What was
day.
it? Was it hard to get back to that old speed?
No, you know what? I still managed to do it because the pages, I found some compromises that help me with both things, keeping both things together. So I'm working smaller.
Mm-hmm.
So basically the way I work now, it's printing size. So my pages are this big. And And I kind of unified that thing of you were talking earlier about Andrew's layouts. They're already beautiful. To me, they're already publishable without needing to, actually do the finished page. Right. And there's some stuff that I loved about my layouts. So I tried to unify that thing, because sometimes when I went to the actual page, they weren't as fresh as what I did on the layouts, because on the layouts, I didn't give a fuck about somebody's gonna see this. And, I would come up with stuff that I really liked, and I couldn't translate that into the final page. So now I try to basically, by making my pages smaller, they're basically big layouts, and I'm using pens and I'm not using brushes and stuff, aside from, adding, the gray tones.
Are you doing layouts smaller, or you're just bypassing that?
I'm doing layouts only in pencils, so I'm not going to ink them. So there's no chance that I can see something that's better on the layouts than on the final page. So I'm trying to, eliminate all those steps that would create this kind of situations.
Are the layouts small?
Like they're really small. There's this big. And pencils, they're not super sketchy, but they're not really defined, aside from a few panels if I'm having fun. And that's. But it's again, I keep trying to find the right solution that makes me happy.
Yeah, I would agree. Like, working smaller kind of keeps you from adding too many superfluous details, and you really focus on what's important. And I do like that sometimes about the breakdowns. I was like, wow, that was like you said, so much fresher and just more, I don't know. You didn't overwork it because you didn't have the space, Yeah. And then you go to 11 by 17 after the little breakdown. Like, oh man, sometimes I find like I'm just adding way more shit that just didn't really need to be there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. And let me ask you something, Andrew. Do you like, once you finish, like, let's take, for example, I don't know, Stand Still. Do you look at the book? Like, do you like to look at your stuff?
What, printed?
Yeah, either printed or even your original art, the original art that you have in your house that you did. Do you like to grab it and look at it again? Or once it's done, you don't want to hear about it? You don't want to see it again?
Right.
What's your attitude towards it?
Sadly, with the comic stuff, I'm just kind of like picking it apart, unfortunately. It's hard to really... Well, I mean, there's a few things here and there that I like. But yeah, I'm kind of like going through and just... like, oh man, I could have picked a different angle, and I could have told that way better, or done something more original. It's usually just a process of, am I still here?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. You have a way of like just picking it apart, sadly.
That's
I think I was gonna say my favorite art is just like paintings I've done just for myself.
Yeah.
Where I'm not trying to be pretty or be comic booky or even illustrative for that matter. You're just kind of
go with the flow.
Yeah. I suppose, being as honest as possible.
But, I find that though, I think on any art, when after you finish it, I'll get comps and I glaze over it. Very quickly, just, you don't get in deep. You go, okay. Because like Andrew's saying, if you start doing it, you'll just pick yourself apart. But I mean, I'm on a more pragmatic end of the art spectrum, where it's like, I get a book, I have 2 days to do it. You get what you get. That's it.
But so, okay. But you're not like, because there's some artists that they don't want to look at their own stuff. And once they do, they're like, God, I suck so bad. Oh my God, my art is just shit. I suck. I shouldn't be existing. I'm going to kill myself. I just hope you're not one of those, right? You're just critical. Critical, I think it's good. Yeah. I do the same with my stuff. But I'm able to on one hand, seeing what didn't work and tell to myself, this doesn't feel good. I don't like to see myself here. Next time I'm going to try and do better when I find myself in the same situation. But then when I did a good job, I'm like, I did good here. This is good. Can you're able to do that, right?
Well, I was going to say, I think you have a really good attitude. And that's also what it takes to draw comics is you got to be positive. You got to be confident. It doesn't help to go through bouts of depression, and get kind of lost in that quagmire, whether it's, I don't know, issues with your mom or what have you. I've got some of those problems myself. And like, for instance, my youngest daughter, wants to be an artist and she's really good. So what I'm trying to do is not really instruct her on how to draw or paint or anything. I'm like, that's hers.
Yeah.
And I don't want to come in and make it my thing,
Right.
But I do just try to check in with her, like, hey, are you happy? Does this make you happy? Do you like when you're alone drawing? Are you okay with that? And do you envision doing this in the future, or do you want to work at a studio? I was like, just stuff to think about,
Do you tell her that when she's older, she'll never truly be happy?
Exactly. You will never, ever, ever be satisfied.
Yeah.
But please continue drawing.
Get used to that,
kid. How old is she now?
She's 13.
Okay.
That went fast.
Jesus, man.
It goes way too fast. Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely does. We're at that hour mark, and Mattteo, you've got a hard out, right? So we got
I gotta go. Speaking of kids, I gotta go grab mine from grandma's. So,
well, thank you, Lee. Thank you, Andrew. Appreciate the time.
Can I say one last thing that I wanted to say earlier?
Yeah, go ahead.
When you were talking about the story. Okay, fuck you. That's all I wanted to say. No, I wanted to say that I agree with the choice that you make, because the first time, fuck you, that's so distracting, man. So the first time you shared with me issue number 1, I wasn't really sold. What, you had 2 bunnies there? What's that?
No, go ahead. Sorry, I'll stop being a dick.
I wasn't really sold on the way you closed issue number 1. And then I saw how you decided to add some more stuff at the end of issue number 1, and I agree with the choice. It's better. That was
Rick, and we lost Andrew. He's like, fuck you.
All right. Okay.
Oh, he's coming back. That was Rick. That was his idea. Remender, he was like, you need to add 2 more scenes. Like, let's make it a little bigger. Let's make this a better pilot issue. And I think he was, obviously, you agree, he was right.
Yeah. It was the right choice. It was the right choice. It felt almost like cut, like, I don't know, almost abruptly. And I was like, I was expecting more pages when I read it. And I was like, is it over, or maybe there's some pages missing? And then I saw the new version. It works really well.
But let's not tell Rick he was right.
No, he's going to be like,
we'll have a chance to tell him tomorrow. So he's going to be on the podcast tomorrow.
Is he?
Yeah.
You have to tell him we gave him props, and then he's going to go, that's all mine.
I remember years ago, he was so pissed that Andrew decided to do Standstill instead of doing a book with him. I was like, Andrew, I don't understand. He's an idiot. Like, how can not work with me and work with an idiot? I'm paraphrasing. He's not, I'm romanticizing it, but he was disappointed because he wanted Andrew to work on one of his books.
But you know what? He didn't go to college with me.
Yeah, we'll talk
about
that.
You know what I'm saying?
He ended up doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lee and I went to college together. That was the difference.
Yeah, we shared a lot of stuff, a lot of secret stuff.
Drayton Towers, baby.
Yeah.
All right,
man. Well, Andrew, you're not here, but thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you, Andrew.
And
thank you,
I'm a huge
I'm
fan.
not here.
You're probably my favorite artist, or up there.
Me too.
Top 3 probably.
All right.
And
Lee, thank you.
Lee, thanks a lot for all the distraction, all the balloons, all the hearts, and the confetti, and all that shit.
The heart is great. The heart.
Thanks a lot for joining us, man. Always great to see you.
Take us out here,
Love
Mattteo.
Real quick because I gotta go.
The Inkpulp Podcast.